Hello, my name is Joan Landis. I'm really glad to be with you again today. So let's talk about 7 factors that create healthy families. Now, Dr. Richard Sale did some research and came up with 7 factors that seem to make healthy families versus non-functional or dysfunctional families, okay? And so I love these because they're pretty basic. And we can all be a little better at them. And so we can all improve our families a little bit gradually. Now, before I launch into this, I want to talk to you about this possibility that there is no such thing as an ideal family. An ideal family does not exist anywhere in the world. None. Okay? And so I don't ever want my people to feel guilty because their family is not an ideal family. Okay? So let's just get that off the table. Don't ever feel guilty that somehow your family doesn't look like a stock photo on a website. So let's think about that though. The fact that there's no ideal families out there, and yet the family still is very resilient and gives a lot of benefits, means that it's a pretty good system, okay? So the system is good, but it doesn't have to be perfect in order to be good. In fact, here's the paradigm shift. The ideal conditions for development for a child, or maybe even for a spouse, is not a perfect family. And if you have parents that are trying so hard to be perfect and have everything so perfect for their children, it can really be counterproductive. I see moms especially that try to be A+ moms. They're just stressing over everything, trying to make everything perfect. And boy, the blowback can be really incredible. So what happens is that the children feel that anxiety. They can feel it on a core level. They also can start feeling very entitled, right? It's like, Mom, you haven't fixed this. Mom, you haven't done this. Dad, you're not making enough money. Dad, you're not at my games. And children can start feeling very entitled, which is not a good recipe for a healthy family, to have the children running the show, making demands. So I really encourage my parents to really go for be a B+ parent. Be a B+ parent. Your children will thank you. If we get in the habit of doing too much for our children instead of doing things with our children, that is a problem. Because then they don't have that relationship. They don't have that relational piece going. And they don't learn from us how to do things. I think a lot of parents feel like, oh my gosh, it's just, so much of a hassle to have to teach my son how to change the oil. I'll just change it myself, right? Well, you've missed out on 2 major things. You've missed out on teaching your son how to be more self-reliant, right? And then you've missed out on that memory of doing something together and bonding over it. So I really want my parents to kind of get this idea that it's much better to leave a few things undone. Let your kids learn to scramble for themselves a little bit. Let them make their own breakfasts sometimes. Let them, wash their own clothes, certainly. Let them figure things out and not have everything perfect for them, and certainly not have stressed out parents that are saying, oh darling, what can I do for you? Oh, I missed that. Oh, I'm so sorry, right? So really be a B+ parent. Your children will actually thank you later to leave a few little things undone. Don't stress about it. I know that there's a legend that Michelangelo, when he was doing the Sistine Chapel, that he had mastered the human form so completely. He was designing the human form. It was his understanding of anatomy was just really amazing. And some of his contemporaries said, Michelangelo, you're not leaving anything for future generations to conquer. You have done everything. And that leaves future generations in a quandary. And so parenting is very much like that. We have to leave a few things undone so that when it comes time for your child to leave the nest and find somebody to settle down with, that they simply can't find anyone who can measure up to mommy, right? They need to be able to say, you know, Mom, Dad, you're great, I love you, but you know, you got a few glitches. I think I can do better than that. I'm gonna go find somebody, we're gonna take a shot at it. And this somebody does not have to be absolutely perfect. That is a really healthy launch point for kids. We want kids to feel like, yeah, the family's great, but there's some glitches. I think I can do better than that, and see you later. That is a dang healthy family. So just have the idea that the ideal family is the normal family. The ideal family is not the perfect family. First of all, they don't exist. Next of all, if they do exist, if you're trying so hard to be perfect, you're actually doing your children especially a major disfavor. So just let's get that out in the open. Don't feel bad that your family has a little bit of glitches, a little bit of dysfunction. I just say perfect. Let's move on. Okay? All right. So Richard Sale says that the 7 issues that really make a difference to healthy families are: number 1, commitment. And we talked about that in that first video, right? That should be your highest priority is family. So I won't go into that one. The next one is time together. All right, now when I say time together, I don't mean you're just in the same room. I mean you're actually connecting together when you're together. We can be all in the same room and totally disconnected on our own little screens, and I know I'm totally guilty of it, but we need to actually work on projects together, even if it's just cleaning the garage. To be together, to laugh, to complain, to, you know, joke, to tell stories, to just be with each other and learn from each other. That is really powerful bonding moments. And it's the bonding that makes us feel secure and safe in our families. So not only the commitment, but the time together, especially working on projects together, even if it's cleaning a kitchen or, cleaning a garage. With that, I've learned over time, what I used to do with my children is, send them off in 20 different directions to all do their chores on Saturday, okay? So it's an efficient way to get the work done. But what we were missing out on was the relational part of that activity. I think it would have been healthier for my family to have worked together on things, to move like a little pod, from kitchen to garage to barn to, and then downstairs where all the bedrooms are, and to work actually together and to make that relational. So that would be my recommendation, is to spend time together. The next one is communication. So we actually need to talk. Yes, small talk is very fun. Small talk is very useful. Nothing wrong with small talk. But we also need to communicate about the things that are actually happening in people's lives so that we can create very good love maps for our loved ones. Do we know the names of our kids' friends? Do we know the test that's coming up in school? Do we know the things they're worried about? Do we know the drama with the friend groups? Do we know their hopes, dreams, and aspirations? Those are love maps. And so as we talk, it's not just, passing the time. Hopefully you're finding out things to increase your love map of your loved ones so that when you talk to them, they know, oh my gosh, Mom remembers this about me. She cares about me because she wasn't just blowing it off. So that's a very important part of communication, is creating a more detailed love map. The other thing too is the next level down would be to be talking about feelings, right? And making it safe to talk about people's feelings. We're not just talking about small talk. We're not just talking about events and people on their love maps. We're talking about their feelings. And so that is very much the talking stick dialogue that we've talked about. And hopefully you're very familiar with that. Ways that you can just open up and listen to your child and help elicit more feelings from them, not shut them down, not make them wrong, not say, but I was trying to do this. No. That is not communication. Communication is 90% listening, 10% sharing of feelings, right? And you're certainly not, trying to solve their problems the first time somebody comes to you, right? Okay. The next one is appreciation. Very important, very important. to express gratitude. Gratitude is such a powerful resilience factor, not only for ourselves, but in our families. Because when we take things for granted and we don't say much, then people feel underappreciated and they feel like nobody cares. And that triggers core issues, doesn't it? Core issues of nobody loves me, nobody notices the things I do for other people. Now, we don't have to be a martyr, right? We don't serve people just to get props. But for us to appreciate other people is as important for us as it is for the receiver of that appreciation. We need to be doing that. Why? Because when we are on the lookout for things to be appreciative of, suddenly we're looking for the good things, right? We're not fault finding, we're looking for strengths. And that is a fantastically resilient frame of mind to live your life in. You are looking for the good. And so that's why appreciation is so important. All right, another one is your spirituality. Families that have a spiritual and faith-based understanding of themselves and the world can be much more resilient in the face of challenges and trials. And so, it doesn't matter as much the religion that you are a member of, as long as it's healthy, right? It's not a cult. But it makes it so that people and children can have their struggles and trials, and it makes meaning for them. A faith-based or spiritual perspective gives us meaning in our suffering. And of course, I've talked to you before about the positive psychology that shows that one of the 3 ways to be happy is to learn to find meaning even in suffering. Okay? And that's what a faith-based or spiritual approach does. Other benefits of spiritual approaches is that if you are part of organized religion, which what that does is that gives you another layer of social support system. Okay? That suddenly every week you have 4 or 5 or whatever many adults that are worried about your children. It's not just you. All right? You've got this whole extra layer of people who are concerned about you as a family. What can I do for you? We'd like to serve you. And then again, you get to serve other people, which is the definition of heaven. I think I hope you know that story about the banquet hall. And so organized religion can be an extremely rich and important way to grow in your resilience. Another way organized religion can help you grow in your resilience is that because there's humans in your church or mosque or whatever, because there's humans in it, you will have relational ruptures and you get practice learning to love people that are kind of harder to love, right? That's a great growth opportunity for all of us, is to learn how to love people who at first glance we might go, ew, right? Oh, I guess I'm being a little judgmental there. Okay, well, let me see if I can get to know you better and actually learn to appreciate you. And maybe I get offended a little bit. How do I overcome that? How do I learn to be more resilient in the face of that? And I don't just tuck my tail and go home and lick my wounds, right? It's a growth opportunity. You bump into actual human people with their flaws, and you know what? You learn to see their flaws as a gift to you to learn to grow in love for them. So, spirituality and organized religion can be a great factor to add resilience and direction to your family. So I highly, highly encourage it. The other one is coping skills. Teaching your children healthy coping skills, okay? This is what Resilified is all about. To teach you, and hopefully you teach your children and model for them and your spouse healthy coping skills. What do you do when you're under stress? What do you do when you're angry? What do you do when you're feeling disconnected? What do you do when your bad habit pops up? That's what Resilified is about. And so I hope you understand the important role that Resilified can play in your family's ability to coalesce and be healthy. So the last one is meeting each other's needs. So in a healthy family, we're not just silos in the same field, that we actually reach out and say, what can I do for you? And how can I meet your need? And it should go both ways, right? And that is a very healthy thing to do, especially children. If children are not taught to serve and to think of other people's feelings and needs and be able to put themselves in someone else's shoes, then they don't grow, and they're kind of emotionally stunted. They're certainly self-centered. And so families are a fantastic place, for, Bobby hits Jennifer, and we say, Bobby, how do you think Jennifer feels? How do you think that feels? Well, I don't know. Well, let's think about that. She's crying. How do you feel when you're crying? Well, I feel sad. Yeah. And so families can be really a healthy place to learn to, anticipate each other's needs, feelings, be able to empathize, and to serve each other. So meet each other's needs. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Please, please look at that list and pick at least one that you want to do a little better at. And even maybe have a little family meeting or a couple council, right? And look at this list and say, what could we do? Maybe every week, look at something and say, what can we do a little better on number 1 this week? What can we do next week a little better on number 2? And just start chipping away at these and having fun with them. And just notice if your children and spouse don't feel a little more connected, a little safer, as you incorporate these healthy coping strategies and healthy habits into your healthy family. So I hope to see you on the forums. I want to see what you are working on, having fun with, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.